Once upon a time there lived in the land of Egypt a huge giant. He was as black as coal and so fierce and strong that everyone was afraid of him. No one would go near him, and he lived all by himself in a house which he had built on the bank of the great river Nile. At last he grew tired of living all by himself, so he prayed to Ra, the sun god, to make him a wife. Ra heard his prayer and made for him a maiden so beautiful that every other girl in Egypt looked quite ugly beside her. He gave this lovely maiden the name of Sunbeam. The giant took her to his big house, but she cried aloud for someone to come and set her free. This made the giant very angry. He beat the poor girl and said to her, "I will give you 4 weeks in which to make up your mind whether you will marry me or not. If you then refuse, I will throw you into the Nile." Sunbeam did not like the idea of being thrown into the river, in which there lived monsters that would soon eat her up. So she stopped weeping, though she kept on hoping that some young prince would ride up and rescue her before the 4 weeks were over. She also tried to please the cruel giant by praising him for his size and his strength. She would say, "What a fine, strong man you are! It is no wonder that there is not a man in the land who can overcome you." One day, after she had been talking like this, she said to him, "What is it that makes you so much stronger and braver than any other man?" "Well, there is no harm in telling you that," said the giant, who was quite pleased with her praises. "It is my heart, which is so big and so strong that I cannot hold it in my body." "Your heart is too big for your body?" cried Sunbeam. "Where then do you keep such a wonderful heart?" "Ah, that is my secret," replied the giant. "But as you are to become my wife, I need not fear to tell you. My heart rests on the branches of a tree. So long as it remains there, no man can stand against me. But if it falls to the ground, then I shall lose my life." "Is this tree very far away?" asked the girl. "By no means," replied the giant. "At the edge of the river there is a circle of palm trees. In the midst of these palm grows a tree twice as high as the others. On its branches rests my heart. But take care not to go near it, for if you do, the river will seize you and carry you away, and I shall not be able to save you." Next morning, when the giant had gone off hunting, Sunbeam left the house. She set off to search for the tree in which his heart was hidden, for she thought, "If I can cause the heart to fall upon the ground, I shall then be free from my cruel master." It was not long before she saw the circle of palm trees standing by the bank of the river, just as the giant had told her, and in the middle she saw a tree twice as high as the others. She ran forward in great joy, but before she could reach the trees, the river began to overflow its banks and rush towards her. She turned and fled as quickly as she could, and just managed to escape. But in her flight, a long hair fell from her head and floated off into the water, where it was soon carried away by the waves. Poor Sunbeam went back to the giant's house, very sad indeed, for she felt that there was no longer any hope for her. Meanwhile, the hair which fell into the river was rolled into a ball by the dashing waves. It was carried along for miles and miles, until at length it was washed up on the bank again. There it lay, just outside the walls of a splendid city, in which Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, lived. That very day the young king was driving along the banks of the river when he noticed the hairball lying just out of reach of the waves. He could not make out what it was, so he sent one of his soldiers to pick it up. When the ball was brought to him, he began to unroll it and found that it was a hair 4 feet in length. "What a beautiful hair!" he cried. "The maiden from whose head this has fallen must be the most lovely in the land. I will seek her out. If she is as fair as I think, I will make her my queen." So he offered a great reward to any person who could tell him how to find out the owner of the beautiful hair. A good many people tried, but all failed. One day, however, a wise man who knew a great deal about magic came to the palace and said, "O great king, I can show you how to find the lady for whom you are seeking." "Do so," replied the king, "and you shall have as much gold as 4 men can carry." The wise man then asked for the hair. When it was brought to him, he rolled it up into a ball again, touched it with a little wand, and uttered some magic words over it, and then handed it back to the king, saying, "Place this hair ball upon the ground, and it will roll away. Follow it swiftly, and it will soon take you to its owner." The king sent for 50 of his finest chariots, each drawn by 3 horses abreast. He filled the chariots with his bravest soldiers and took the wise man with him in his own car, which was drawn by 4 white steeds. They set off at full gallop after the hair ball, which all the while rolled on before them. At the end of the 4th day they reached the house of the giant, and there, in front of the door, the king beheld the most lovely maiden he had ever set eyes upon. Overcome by her beauty, he knelt before her, and telling her who he was, begged her to become his wife. "With all my heart," she cried, "but you must first destroy the cruel giant to whom I belong. He goes hunting all day and returns at nightfall. But it is useless to think of fighting him, for he is so strong that he could easily kill you and all your men." "What, then, can I do to save you?" asked the king. "I will tell you," replied Sunbeam, and she quickly made known to him the secret of her master's strength. But she took care to warn the king that the river would seize any one who went near the tree in which the giant's heart was hidden. The king said, "I have a very wise man with me, whose power will perhaps be great enough to keep back the river. At any rate, we will go and see." So they went down to the bank of the Nile, where the lofty tree stood in the middle of the circle of palms. As soon as they came near the trees, the river overflowed its banks and rushed towards them. But the wise man waved his magic wand, and a great wall of stone sprang up before the torrent. The soldiers at once began to hack at the trunk of the tall tree, and in a very short time it fell with a crash to the ground, bringing with it the giant's heart, which was broken to pieces. Sunbeam's joy on seeing this was greater than I can tell you, for she knew that the wicked giant had lost his life at the moment when the heart fell from the tree. Sunbeam then married the king of Egypt, and everyone said that she was the best and the most beautiful queen that had ever ruled in the land. End.